Good evening, everyone. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science. Welcome to our self-healing class, our Louise class. It's wonderful, a blessing to have you all here with us, whether you're in person or watching us live here at our center, or watching us on YouTube, Facebook. Most of you right now are watching us on Zoom, so welcome, one and all. All of you who are watching later as we replay, we see you. We appreciate you being here. You're glad you're part of our community. This space that we create is a space of healing every week, a space of growth and transformation. At First Church, we offer gatherings 3 times a week. Some of you already know this, but in case anyone's new, every Wednesday, Jimmy hosts our Creative Living series at 7 p.m. And with the same Zoom links, Sunday morning at 10:45 is our lesson of the week. We start with our meditation at 10:45, and then we have our weekly lesson at approximately 11 o'clock. Always a transformative talk, usually inspired by Ernest Holmes and or other New Thought leaders, teachers. So 3 times a week. And of course, now Thursday is our Louise Hay, our self-healing gathering, which is based upon her empowering teaching, the book You Can Heal Your Life. This is probably the longest running Louise Hay class anywhere, since I've been facilitating this about a year after the book came out. So it's many, many years. So we're really thrilled that we can continue on this work. Louise was a practitioner and student here at First Church. All of our gatherings, the 3 that we do and other classes, are offered free of charge. We have options so you can support us if you'd like to in the chat rooms, in the Zoom, you'll see it to the right, or on any of the social media platforms. Anything you can contribute, if you're able to, it means a lot. Another way you can support us, if you'd like, is on the YouTube channel, you could subscribe. That's really helpful. If you subscribe to the channel, and if you were able to like and comment or share, those are the things that help us grow in a digital world. So you'll find links, again, in the chat room on the Zoom. And you'll find links also on the other platforms. As we are very near to the end of the year, or stepping into the new year, we're looking forward to a new time, a new year. This evening's gathering is a time to reflect on what has been and envision what can be. What would you like to create looking forward? What would you like to do differently? How could I live? Ask yourself, how could I live more authentically? What do I want? What I want energetically to release that isn't really working for my highest and best? What would I like to let go of? I think I'm going to be doing some type of burning bowl or releasing ceremony for us in another week or 2. But these are great questions to start us off with. Life is always moving forward by means of us. Your consciousness is moving you along. Your life is a reflection of your consciousness. So this evening, I might want to explore a few trends that have been evident to me this year, and things we might want to consider embracing going forward as we step into 2025. The world is obviously very much alive with new practices, new ideas, thousands, hundreds and thousands, millions of new ideas. And all these ideas they're all pushing us forward. And these ideas encourage expansion, they encourage personal growth, they encourage healing, connection. So we're all encouraged to step up and to step into these new moments. Everywhere we look, people are exploring ways to live more consciously, I notice. These are trends that I've been picking up. There's trends, I'm going to talk about a few of them this evening. There's a trend to do inner healing from the inside out. People are looking to connect. They're looking to connect with the essence, the spirit that is within them. They're wanting authentic expression. So many people are involved in new kinds of spiritualities similar to what we do, where they're really wanting something real. They're not looking for it necessarily in a building. They're looking for that authentic experience that Ernest Holmes spoke of years ago. So these kind of trends aren't just passing fads. They reflect a collective awakening and a desire to live with more intention and more heart. It's as though the world is saying, enough of rushing around and enough of surviving. It's time for me to be real. It's time for me to thrive and figure out who I've come here to be. So tonight, let's take a little closer look at a few of these trends. One thing that I became aware of this year is there's a huge shift in lots of areas. One was about food, mindful eating. Everywhere I was going this year, people were talking about eating whole foods and releasing the need to eat processed food. So in my world, there's a lot of conversation on better food, whole food, and the moving away from processed foods. And the timing for me was perfect because I needed to get a handle on some of that stuff myself. So the information has been everywhere. Louise was often talking about nurturing ourselves with food and better nourishment. And she said nourishing our bodies with good food is a form of self-love. Yeah, nurturing and nourishing the body is a form of self-love. And isn't that what it's all about? Treating yourself with greater care and intention. Mindful eating isn't just about what's on your plate. It's also about the energy and the love you bring to every meal. So learning to live and eat more consciously. Food isn't just fuel. It's I think of it now as another way to nurture our bodies, our mind, and our spirit. More and more people I found are recognizing they're paying attention to what they eat, and they know that it directly impacts their overall well-being. Not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well. So let's consider as a way to love ourselves this year, this new trend towards more whole foods, maybe more fresh foods, vegetables, fruits, grains, protein, and taking in rich, foods that are rich in nutrition that your body wants and needs. Foods that are free of hidden additives, preservatives, artificial ingredients that can negatively impact your health. I know I paid a lot of attention to this trend this year, and I did it in small steps. And one thing I learned, the small shifts we make can have a very big impact. For me, it started with sugar products because I found sugar was in virtually everything. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet overnight, but maybe just embrace this trend of better nourishment. Transformation will happen one step at a time. Now, I consulted some of the experts who suggested we might also consider adding an extra serving of vegetables to our meals. And you could think of that as adding more color, more vibrancy, and aliveness to your plate and to your day. And maybe consider swapping out the processed snacks for fresh fruit or nuts or something like that. A handful of almonds or a crisp apple can be more than a snack. It's a choice to prioritize your health. So you'll hear me every week say trade in lesser ideas for greater. Well, that applies to nutrition as well. So the next suggestion, let's take a brief moment, a pause. Before eating, how about expressing gratitude? I know many of you, myself included, are watching TV or eating in front of the TV. So let's take a moment and we can imagine ourselves closing our eyes and taking a breath and silently before we eat, say thank you. I know some of you look at the food you eat before you eat it and give thanks. I mention this because gratitude can transform ordinary eating into extraordinary. And one more thought to embrace this year that might help you. Read food labels and stay mindful of added sugars. I'm sure many of you know that sugar has a way of sneaking into just about everything, even the foods that we think are healthy. So this trend of better nutrition, the advice I've got is keep an eye out for the added sugars, the fructose, And as you do, you're going to give your body a chance to repair, to recover, and to thrive. There's a divine pattern of health that's in all of us, and it's doing its best to restore and to revive and to allow us to thrive. So any of these small intentional steps, eating mindfully, choosing better foods, any of these small intentional steps create momentum. Again, there is a perfect pattern of health within every one of us that it's attempting to correct, to restore, revive. So please consider taking a small step. We can make a big impact if we do these things, and we can quickly aid our own health and healing. And more than that, this reinforces a much deeper message of self-love. Every time you choose foods that nourish you, you're saying to yourself, I'm worthy of care, I'm worthy of health, I'm worthy of joy. Now, there's another trend. I have about 3, I think. The next trend I ran into all through 2024, and I spoke of it at different times and places, was the concept of taking a digital detox. So in today's very fast-paced world where things seem to be speeding up, letting go could mean setting boundaries with technology. So here we are again with our digital detox. It really, if you do one, if you get it in your mind a little bit, it's a powerful gift you can give yourself. Think about it for a second. When was the last time you turned off your devices altogether? Probably not in a long time. When's the last time you just quiet? TV was off, computer was set aside, and you could read a book, or you could meditate, or you could do an affirmative prayer. You could just sit, with yourself and breathe. Well, this year I was astounded to learn that the average American adult spends over 7 full hours a day in front of one screen or another. It could be a TV, a computer, a tablet. Our cell phones are computers now anyway, but over 7 hours. And then the younger generation, I don't know what the cutoff age is, are spending over 8 hours a day. So if you think about, as I said before, we sleep 7 or 8 hours a day. There's not a lot of time left between our time on our devices and the time we sleep to truly connect with ourselves, our inner self, or the world around us. So this is what I've been emphasizing throughout the year when I've talked about the importance of learning to take a pause and connect with spirit. Taking mindful pauses throughout any day will help you in 2025 as well. So this is a practice, a trend that I hope everybody keeps up with. In our teaching, we encourage taking a moment to reconnect, to realize that there is one energy, there's one power, and this creative power is in you, operating through you. It flows through all of us, and you can use it. But here's the thing, with all this digital technology, it's becoming increasingly difficult for people because it's almost like it's an addictive thing now. We seem to be glued to screens for much more of our day. There's another piece of information I found when I was putting my notes together. Did you know that the screen time floods your brain with feel-good chemicals like dopamine? I bet some of you did, and I bet some of you didn't. Well, it does. It's why you can't stop scrolling. For those of you who are doing TikTok and things like that, you get these feel-good chemicals in operations, and it's difficult to stop. It's addictive. But here's the thing. Just like our bodies need rest and better food, our brains need a break also. So this is a suggestion for learning to love yourself more. Consider a digital detox, even for an hour or two a week. Find a time, or if you could do it every day, it would be better, because it gives your mind a chance to rest. It helps restore natural balance, leaving you feel more focused, more calm, and clear-headed. So here's something to think about. How many of us check our cell phones almost when we wake up in the morning? Some of you will check it even before you get out of bed because it's tied into your alarm clock. Instead of doing that, maybe the first thing, if you connected with something other than a screen, maybe your breath, or a prayer, an affirmative prayer, or you center yourself with your thoughts and meditation, or possibly you could look out your window and notice a beautiful sunrise. Any of these small shifts, anything similar, where you can choose connection with yourself over connection with a device, is going to be a transformative experience. It's a step toward the kind of awareness that Ram Dass used to talk about in his book, Be Here Now. If we can slow it down so we can be here now, we won't be running. You pick up the phone and it starts the whole day long. It can keep going and going and going. So what we're encouraging in this particular digital detox trend is to slow it down, to take time out for yourself, taking moments to be present with yourself and to breathe and to connect with the source. It's a profound gift if you start doing it. You can only give that to yourself. We're learning in all of our classes to become the guardian at the gate of our consciousness. We're learning to protect our energy. You're the sole person. You're the only person who can do it. One of the biggest stressors in our digital lives is the constant stream of negativity. It's everywhere. With the news, we all know it's important to stay informed, and we want to hear different ideas and opinions. But we want to be honest. The news cycles will thrive on fear and drama. After all, that's what sells the news. It grabs our attention. Too much of it can leave us feeling drained, anxious. It can even feel hopeless and angry. But what if instead of keeping that on throughout the day, you make a conscious decision to balance it? Balance it also with stories of hope and inspiration. You've heard me talk in other lessons about the importance of laughter and humor and positive energy. We know that any of these promote healing, and they uplift your spirit, and they impact your health. So why not cultivate a good news practice? I was reminded when I was putting this lesson together, one of my students, ministerial students, probably, 30 years ago, something like that, she had a publication which she called The Good News. I don't know how it made out in the end. The paper closed because probably good news wasn't selling. Nonetheless, we as practitioners, all of you here who are in this teaching, are living the affirmative life. You're learning to see the good and practicing the good. So I'm going to give you a suggestion to try this. Each day, seek out something. Something that's uplifting. Could be a story, could be something about kindness, or a funny video, or a moment where you see beauty in nature, or seek out any new positive trend that we're talking about today. Any of these small shifts can help you. They can help reframe your perspective and remind you of the good that's actually happening in the world. See, this is what we do. We're here to develop positive expectancies. So this ought to be very easy for New Thought students, because we realize that we live in this energy, we move in it, and we're a part of it. So it ought to be very easy for us to do this. Dr. Bill used to say in our classes that we live in an age where we can commune with some of the greatest minds that have ever lived. And we can, and I regularly do, and I know you can too if you want to. You can tune into YouTube, there's books, there's just, you can watch stuff on a channel that's all negative, or you can make a conscious choice to do something else, watch something else, listen to something else. We have around the clock, probably, 100 videos, 100 Louise Hay lessons, talks, meditations. And we're not, it's not just us. There's lots of places where you can put your attention. So I do this regularly, and I know you can too. So I'm asking you all to consider, embrace this trend to give yourself a digital detox. Again, it's not about cutting technology out. We don't want to do that. There's too much good that's with technology. But it's about making conscious choices to prioritize what truly matters. What matters to me is the time I have with the people I care about. I care about the teaching. I care about practicing the teaching. I love learning, and I don't want to terrorize myself with a bunch of negativity. And I don't imagine any of you do either. So please give it a try. Step away from the devices for an hour or two and use that time to do something wonderful for yourself. Maybe consider a new nutritious recipe or any of the other improvements we're talking about today. But most of all, take the time to connect with that deeper part of yourself. Now, you might be surprised how much lighter and more grounded you will feel if you just step away from some of that for a while. Remember, making space for what matters begins always with one small step. The question for today is, will you take one? So these are things you can talk about when we do the personal sharing. So let's reflect on the question. Am I or are you creating space in your life for what really matters? Only you can answer that. Let's take a deep breath and affirm this together. I release distractions and I open myself up to connection and peace. And as you're thinking of that, I release distractions and I open myself up to connecting with spirit within. And I open myself up to peace, profound peace. I learned this year that there's a lot of people taking what's called gratitude walks. That's become a thing. I think it sounds wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to do. They're a simple and yet powerful way to shift your energy and your mentality. So picture this. You're strolling through your own neighborhood. Maybe you take a different street, as I suggest. So you notice new things. You notice the sunlight that's on your face, the way the air feels, the rhythm of your steps. With every step, you reflect on something you're grateful for. It could be as big as your health, your family, the people you love, or it could be as small as the coffee that's in your hand. Here's the magic of gratitude. It doesn't make you feel good in the moment. It actually rewires your brain. Yes, gratitude actually rewires your brain to notice more of the good in life and invites even greater joy and abundance in your world. If you find it hard to think of what you're grateful for, in other words, you're coming from a very miserable place, if you find it hard to get there, start with something very small. Be grateful for the shoes on your feet, for the coat that you're wearing, the air you're breathing, or the quiet moment you're having. Gratitude isn't necessarily about big things, big gestures. It's about appreciating what's already here. So, gratitude isn't just about appreciating the easy and joyful moments. It's also about seeing the growth and the wisdom that you've gained through all you've been through. There's a quote I love, many of you know from the Course in Miracles. I share it often. And it is this: it takes great wisdom to understand that all events, circumstances, and happenings are helpful. It takes great wisdom to understand that all you've been through, all of it has been helpful. As we look back on the past, let's reflect on the triumphs, all of them. You've been through a lot, you've achieved a lot, and the challenges. This idea aligns with Louise Hay's teaching that life unfolds always in divine order. Even when we can't see the full picture, every single experience shapes us and prepares us for what's next. So let's take a moment to reflect. You close your eyes if you want for a moment or two. And bring your mind to a moment from the past year. Think about a challenge you faced. Could be anything. What did it teach you? Think about that. How did this challenge help you grow? Just make a note of that. Now I'd like to have you go to a moment where something worked. A moment of triumph. Small, big moment where everything's worked out. And how did this moment, as you think of it, remind you of the strength, your strength, the resilience? Take a deep breath and silently affirm, I'm grateful for the journey that brought me here. Yes. Again, I'm grateful for the journey that brought me here. And when you're ready, open your eyes and carry this gratitude with you now and into the year ahead. Gratitude isn't just for good moments. It's also for the moments that helped us grow. So once again, I'm grateful for the journey. Everything I have experienced has brought me to a stronger, wiser, and more empowered place. And I discovered yet another trend. Throughout this year, we've explored trends that have invited us to pause. You might recall I discovered that Coca-Cola slogan, I think it was from 1929, the pause that refreshes. So we've used that a lot, taking a pause to reflect, to consciously connect and create space for what matters. So this evening we've gone from affirmative living, and throughout the year we've done a lot of work on affirmations and affirmative living, to mindful eating, to digital detoxing. Any of these practices, all these practices, help us reconnect to what's really important in life. Another growing trend we've touched on is the power of nature to restore and inspire us. And nature has a very unique ability to remind us of our connection to something greater. One of the most profound and timeless ways to tap into this connection is through another trend, and it's stargazing. Now, I haven't done that in many years. It's some people, they're even inviting people to take what's called celestial retreats. So if you think about it, when was the last time you actually looked at the stars outside for any length of time, where you looked up at them, where you could feel the awesomeness of them, you could have a sense of awe? Now, I remember doing this all the time when I was a kid on the golf course, looking up at the stars for hours. It's been a long time. I don't know how to do this so well in the center of New York City, but I know it's a really awesome practice. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "The sky is the daily bread of the eyes." So he thought it was wonderful to do this. The sky, again, is the daily bread of the eyes. In a world that's filled with distractions, the stars offer us a moment of stillness and wonder. As you all know, Louise Hay was oftentimes encouraging us to embrace change and growth by saying, "I am in the process of positive change." And for those of you who do this, I want to say stargazing isn't just about admiring the night sky. It's a deeply grounding practice. It reminds us of the vastness of the universe and the infinite possibilities that exist within ourselves. The stars are silent witnesses to our journey, reflecting our ability to rise, evolve, and shine no matter what challenges we face. If you'd like to consider doing this, maybe you're not sure where to start. I was reading instructions. Here's a simple idea. Pick a clear night, step outside, and take a few deep breaths, and just look up. Let yourself gaze, wander across the stars. Feel their stillness and their light. Imagine that same vast creative energy flowing within you. Imagine that same energy that you see guiding your next steps. So this idea of taking a celestial retreat is more than a moment to pause. It's a practice. It's a practice of wonder and renewal. So I might just try that. So just as we've embraced other trends this year, this one invites us to reconnect with awe and wonder and inspiration that can only come from stepping outside and looking up. So why not consider giving that a try if you're in a place where you can? You might be surprised how it brings clarity and a sense of possibility to your life. So I have another question, reflective question. What dreams and possibilities are waiting to unfold in your life? Could a moment or two under the stars, where you reconnect with your inner wonder, wisdom, help you? So let's affirm together. Under the stars, I see infinite possibilities within myself. So this class is about self-love and embracing trends, and one that's often overlooked, but made a big impact in my life this year, and making a big comeback, is sleep. I got interested this year after reading Matthew Walker's Why We Sleep, which I heard was one of Bill Gates' most recommended books. What I learned from it was truly eye-opening. I learned that sleep impacts everything. So here's the thing about sleep. It's not just about rest, it's about restoration. Think of it as plugging in your phone. When you wake up fully charged, you're ready to take on the next day or the day. But here's the catch. You can't skip it and expect your body and mind to perform at their best. And no extra coffee isn't going to be a substitute. As Louise emphasized, deep at the center of my being is an infinite well of peace and love. Sleep is one of the simplest, most natural ways we can access peace. Yet it's often the thing we sacrifice first when life gets busy. Why it matters more than ever? Matthew Walker's research highlights just how vital sleep is for every aspect of our well-being. Here are some key reasons to make it a priority. If you get 7, 8, or 9 hours of quality sleep, it will improve your focus, your creativity, your brain health, decision-making. Sleep is when the brain consolidates memories and clears out the waste, making room for fresh ideas and insights. It will help your physical health. It will allow your body to repair itself and strengthen your entire system. It'll balance hormones. Walker describes it as the ultimate nightly health insurance. It also restores your emotional resilience, helps you to handle stress, and cultivate joy. Without it, you're more likely to feel overwhelmed. You're more likely to react. So think about it. When was the last time you woke up and thought, wow, I feel amazing? Sleep isn't a luxury. It's the foundation of everything else. It's the ultimate act of self-love. So it's a trend. That book was on the bestsellers list for a long time, and everyone has just spoken of it. Now, how to embrace it? If you're skimping on sleep, consider this your invitation today to embrace it as a gift to yourself, as a way to love yourself more. Start small. You could set at bedtime a calming routine to treat yourself to sacred rest. Matthew Walker reminds us that sleep is essential not just for living, but for thriving. So tonight, or maybe this week, whatever, you have to think about how you're going to do it. When you settle in, remember, you're not just resting, you're recharging for your best life. There's practical tips. Set a consistent bedtime. Your body loves routines, so make an attempt to fall asleep at approximately the regular time, even on weekends. Limit your screen time at least an hour before you go to bed, because your brain needs time to wind down, and your phone will survive without you. Make your bedroom a sanctuary, a peaceful haven. You get rid of the clutter, lower the lights, and indulge yourself in creating an inviting area for you to sleep. Remember, sleep isn't a weakness. It is your superpower. So let's give ourselves permission in this trend to rest more and not run on empty. So before we close, I'd like to invite you to choose just one practice, one idea, either I expressed or came to you from tonight's gathering, one idea that resonated with you. Will you explore gratitude walks or try a digital detox? There's so many ways you could do that. How about more laughter in your life? More time with your friends? Laughing more often? Prioritizing more restful sleep? More intentional sleep? How about those of you who are interested in stargazing? Please, don't walk down the street if you're doing that. Perhaps it's improved nutrition. One of the things I shouldn't say I had to do, that I did, and I'm glad I did. How about improved nutrition or mindful eating? Write anything down that comes to mind, or silently say it to yourself so you keep it in the forefront of your consciousness. So now, we'd love to hear from all of you. What came up for you during tonight's class, any of the examples, What trends are you excited to embrace in the year to come? Feel free to share your thoughts, your reflections, your affirmations, what it's been like being new. So now we turn the cameras over to you. Thank you all, one and all, for being here. Please, if you're new, say hello so we can say welcome. Thank you.